Hey everyone, I'm back here today to do another Lexapro update, as I've currently been taking it for about a month and a half as I film this clip, and because I'm just so thankful at the positive comments and feedback I've gotten on the first video I put out there. It was really so comforting to see, especially when I was super nervous about putting my thoughts and experience out there in the first place. Also, I was very surprised to see as well that, well, I guess I'm not surprised at the fact I was demonetized, but then I requested a review and they said it was fine to be monetized again. I just thought that was a little funny, not really sure what will happen this time around, but more importantly, I just want to share some updates since there are a couple since I've continued to take it from my previous video. So yes, I'm still taking the Lexapro. I have a little reminder there to chat about it now. I'm on a slightly different makeup of it. Still the same thing, but just a different brand because I went to a different pharmacy. But yes, I'm still on the Lexapro and I took a few notes down because I didn't want to forget anything. First thing I noted down was dreams, and I think in my first video I said that I wasn't having any weird dreams, or I might have had one, and since then I feel like I've definitely had more strange dreams. Nothing I'm going to describe here, but they were just weird subjects, and I guess to experience those dreams they were very vivid, which was quite abnormal. So again, can't really determine if it's specifically from the Lexapro or just something else, maybe because I'm expecting them, they're happening, but still something I thought I'd mention because I guess that's technically a downside. They haven't been nightmares or anything, it's just a strange thing to experience. And I'll quickly mention as well all of the initial things I said I have, like dry mouth and everything that I've mentioned previously is still the same unless I'm saying otherwise at any point, but for now just take everything I've said from the first video and continue it on over here, assuming that it's still going on, because pretty much it is. I didn't want to run down everything again for the second time. So of course, if you haven't seen the first video, now would definitely be a good time to pause this one and watch my first video on the subject. I'll make sure I link it up above as well. But apart from the dreams, I noticed there was one day that I think I had a bit of discontinuation, I think they call it. Basically, there was one hectic day where I was trying to get ready for work and it was all last minute. I was called in and I just wasn't able to take my Lexapro in the morning. And because it was such a long day, I didn't get to take it that night either. I had to just take the next dose the next day, and I've got to say the day that I didn't have it, I felt quite sick. And again, I know in a lot of these things I'm saying things that we can't really know if it's in relation to the Lexapro or not, but I know sometimes stopping taking any sort of medicine like that will make you feel sick. I'm not sure if Lexapro is one of these, so I'll definitely need to check with the doctor. Maybe in case things like this happen again, I'll see if I can cut off a pill from the pill packet and put it inside my wallet or something, just to keep me out of situations like that in the future. But I was very surprised. I just felt so sick and I felt very anxious as well, and maybe that was just due to the fact that I knew I hadn't taken it and I was worrying on it. Maybe I naturally just felt that way, or it could be because I didn't take it, but I will definitely check in with my doctor next time I see her and update once I have an answer on that. And then I guess the last thing I wanted to mention is the fact that I'm still experiencing anxiety when things get really bad. There was one day last week that I had quite a stressful moment. One of my dogs got out of the yard for the first time. She'd never done this before. Of course, I'm talking about little Macy. I wasn't home at the time, of course. I was at work and I heard all about it through Brendan. And in that moment, I was super stressed. I started to panic. I felt like I was going to have a panic attack or hyperventilate. And of course, everything worked out okay, so that's fine. But it was just strange to experience such anxiety after not having it for a while. I guess for myself, extreme stressful situations like that didn't happen every day in the past, but when they did, they would definitely just wreck me, and even small things would definitely make me feel super anxious and stressed. And I guess now the smaller things aren't affecting me as much, but still something major like that happening, my dog getting out of the yard and potentially getting hurt, it definitely stressed me out a lot. So I don't know if that's something that will ever change. Of course, it's not going to block all emotions and feelings, but just something I thought was worth mentioning. Obviously, if you start to take Lexapro as well, or any similar medicine, and extreme stressful situations happen, it's not going to stop you feeling stressed, but I guess it's normal. That's the only point I wanted to make there. I don't even know if that last part made any sense, but those are all of the updates I have for today. Of course, I'll check in again when there's anything else, hopefully some positive things to mention that I noticed, because I feel like a lot of the ones today were a bit more of a downer, but for the most part things are going well. So I'll just leave this one here and check in again whenever I have another update. Alright, it is April at the moment, and that means that I'm pretty much at the 3-month mark for using Lexapro, so I thought it was about time that I do another update from the previous update I did in the clip you would have just seen, and also moving on from the first video that I did in my Lexapro experience videos. So I have some notes here, and I just thought I'd go through those. There are things that I've noticed since the last clips that you would have seen a couple months. Yeah, it was probably a couple months ago now, or a couple weeks ago. I think I filmed that pretty close after uploading the first video. I just thought I'd update on a few more things since I'm close to the 3-month mark now. I've got quite a few things that I suppose I haven't spoken about yet, or maybe I've mentioned them in passing, but I thought I'd sit down and really talk about it here. Alright, so I guess the first thing on my list is something from a conversation that I was having with my therapist about. So I don't want to go too much into it, but I think that it is pretty useful to mention because it's not just me speculating on how I'm feeling, but pretty solid proof on how the Lexapro is working for me. And I do wish that I could remember exactly what this quiz or questionnaire is so I could reference it now, but basically when I was properly diagnosed with my anxiety and depression, I was asked a whole series of questions on how I'm feeling, when do I feel like this, when do I feel like that, and they asked me these questions originally when I was prescribed the Lexapro, and I think I may have also been asked this series of questions a couple weeks after having it when they gave me a script again. And then recently I was also asked these questions a third time by my therapist, and the results were that I'm sitting in quite a normal range for anxiety and depression, which basically means those symptoms aren't there, which is great, I think. Again, I think it was useful to hear this, and that's why I wanted to share it now, because I feel like it is a bit more proof, if you will, rather than just me saying that I feel a lot better. Also, something I don't think I've said so far is the fact that it is very easy for me to remember to actually take the Lexapro every day. I say that because I'm not on, a contraceptive pill or anything. I have the implant on, so I wasn't in the habit of having daily medicine or anything like that. But now, sorry, Quentin's squeaking away at my feet. Now it definitely feels like part of my routine. I'm not worried about skipping it, but I did do something that I mentioned, I think in the previous clip, about making a little safety net pill to keep in my wallet. I just cut out one of them inside its packaging and keep it on me at all times in case I forget it in the morning. That way I won't miss out for the day. But I haven't forgotten any more since that one experience that I mentioned. I think it was just one time and the day was hectic, but it hasn't happened since, and I'm not thinking it will, but on the same hand, at least I'd be prepared to take it if I forget to have it at home. I always have one on me at the moment. Now there's also something else I wanted to mention, and this is something I've spoken about a lot, and that is the dry throat feeling. Of course, I'm always drinking water or tea, always gotta have something to drink because my throat is constantly dry. For me, it's more of a dry throat than a dry mouth, and that seems like a weird distinction, but that's what I'm noticing most of all. And it's very interesting because it's always something that I'm feeling if I think about it, but sometimes I forget. So in a way I'm getting used to it, but when I remember, I almost feel like, oh, I must be getting sick, or I must be losing my voice. That's the sort of feeling that it is. And I guess it's just a strange thought that I have immediately. Sometimes if I wake up and I'm not paying much attention, my thought, or my brain immediately goes to thinking that I'm sick, and that's not really the case. It's just that chronic dry throat, and there's nothing I can really do for it. Of course, it is, out of any possible side effect, not a big deal, just something that I notice, and I don't know if it's the same for everyone, but it's just a little niggling annoyance. And then I think there was only one more thing I wanted to update you on. I'm not sure if this will be the last clip that I put in this update or not. I guess, as always, I'll update if there's anything new, but otherwise these might be the last little bits that I have to mention for 3 months. And the last one's a bit of a big one, I guess. Dreams and sleep. I know I've touched on this a few times, that I feel like I had heard that weird dreams was a side effect. And for me, I have had, I think looking back now, a lot more weird dreams, and they are ones that I remember, so that's why I can say that. I've always had strange dreams and nightmares and everything like that, but looking back now that there's more time to assess, I think that that is a little bit heightened since starting the Lexapro. But more of an issue than the dreams is the sleep. And this is something that I need to check with my doctor about. I need to check with my doctor because there is also something I'm noticing over time that I really haven't heard many other people mention, and I don't think I've said it so far, but I feel like my sleep has definitely been affected. When I sleep now, I'm out like a light, and that's something that's happened in the past for me. I guess my sleep patterns have never been normal. I definitely used to have insomnia, and sometimes I would go to sleep and I wouldn't wake up. It would take me a long time, or it would be really hard for me to wake up. But now it's a pretty consistent thing for me since starting the Lexapro. Basically, I fall asleep a lot easier. I don't have issues with insomnia anymore, but when I go to sleep, nothing can wake me up. I need to set maybe 10 alarms to wake up. Occasionally I will hop up earlier, but I'm setting alarms as backups just because I'll wake up and I feel like I'm still asleep even when I'm awake, if that makes sense. And I notice it sometimes too as well when I'm sleepy at night, just falling asleep on the couch. If I hop up and start getting ready for bed, I still feel like I'm asleep, like I'm half awake sort of thing. It's a very strange feeling if you've never had anything like that before, but that's as best as I can explain it. And that's just not anything that I had heard people mention was a factor with Lexapro, so I've got to speak to my doctor about that as well. But it was something that I thought was worth mentioning here. But now I'm pretty sure those are all the things that I wanted to update you on for the moment. Now, I'm not 100% sure, or I can't remember exactly what I said in the first part of this video, updates wise, but I think that pretty much sums up my experience on taking Lexapro now for 3 months. So I really do hope you found this video helpful, whether you're just starting Lexapro yourself, or if you've been having it a little bit, maybe you want to hear about another experience that someone's having, or who knows, maybe you know someone that's taking it or a similar sort of medicine and you just want to know what the experience is like. Either way, I think I'm going to be leaving this video here today, so I just wanted to thank you so much for watching. I really do hope that you find this helpful. Please give me a thumbs up if you did, and if you've got any questions at all, definitely leave them in the comments down below because I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have if it helps you out. Also, before I go, I thought I'd point out that I'm not exactly sure if I'll be doing a 6-month update or maybe a year update if there are more things to say as time goes by. I'm sure that whenever I stop it, assuming I stop it sometime in the near future when I'm still making videos, that I will update you then on the experience weaning myself off as well. But now I think I'll leave this video here, so I just wanted to thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye!